Okay, I thought it was worth doing a video about where I started on this project. Obviously, I didn't start by cutting things out, I started with the design. This is one of the early drawings I did. I won't say it was the first because I think there was a few reconsiderations, but I drew it up as a full-scale half-body drawing to try and get the basic shape right. And when I was happy with this, I could then transfer the drawings to a full body drawing, marking out the places of the bridge plate, the bridge and saddle, the bracing plan, bracing sizes, and where the neck joins in. So that's kind of the final body shape. I had a number of revisions on the bracing plan until I got something I was happy with. And they're obviously not solid square bars like this. But this is just a plan to where they'll be, and then they'll be shaped and thinned and glued and to hold the body shape and to reinforce and create, hopefully, the tone of the guitar. Now, other parts of the design, because I couldn't get it all on paper, where I was thinking about early on, was how I joined the neck onto the body. Now, there's various ways to do it. Traditionally, you'd have a tapered dovetail that was glued in. This is a very complex joint to make, and also a joint that's not really meant to be taken apart, although it can be if something breaks. And where some manufacturers are going now, including big manufacturers like Taylor, and also a lot of little manufacturers, is a bolt-on tenon neck. So I wanted to draw that out, and I'm also planning to access the truss rod on this through the neck hole. So it was the relationship between them and where they went through at various points. So this was like a planning drawing, and it's not a finished piece yet. There'll be more work to do on this, but it's just a basic shape of what cuts through where and what space I need to access this. One of the decisions I've made since I drew this is the nuts, in effect, that are being bolted to that are on the neck, rather than it being two that go crossways, it'd be one that goes lengthways with two holes in it, and that'll go through a drilled hole and be epoxied in to keep that tenon nice and strong. So there's a bit of alignment to do when I do that, but I think the holes where the two bolts go will be roughly in those locations. The other drawing I've been working on is the neck itself and the headstock. I've got to decide the shape of the headstock yet. That's the location of the tuning machines will go, and the string layout through the nut. Some of this is planning to how I cut it out of the wood I've got, and what some of this planning was to realise there was a bit of wood for the neck point that I'm missing for this, so I do need a bit more of that wood, which I'm getting sent to me. Also planning for how I cut and joint up the headstock, and there's various ways of doing it, but it's which way works that gives me the right geometry, gives me the biggest overlap for gluing, therefore the strongest joint. But the thing that's got left to be done on this is the actual headstock of the shaping of this. If you ever see acoustic guitars, every manufacturer has their own shape. So I don't want a shape that copies somebody else's, but also I don't want something that's too extravagant. It's going to be quite a simple shape, but I'm not sure what yet. I've got to think more about that. Going back to the half drawing, this is the drawing I took all the master sizes off for things, and one of the things that I created from that was a master template, which was basically on the wood. I drew a grid as to transfer it, and you'll see lines on the vertical lines. They're at even spaces. Those lines were put on the template and then measured from the center line to the edge and marked off, and it was redrawn. The curve was redrawn onto that using those intersection points, and where you've got big transitions I put in intermediate points. That was then jigsawed out and sanded to get a nice smooth curve. So this is now the master template for drawings. So one of the things I produced for that was a couple of templates for using in manufacture. This is the first one, is for the... So these were traced using that MDF template, and then marked out and cut out for where the bridge plate will go. And then a second one, which is the bracing plan. So I can use this to transfer the lines onto the woodwork and work out exactly where I'm going to glue down the braces. These are just reinforcements glued on the top to make it a bit stiffer to work with, because when I cut those slots out it became very floppy. I think that's most of the drawings and design parts of it, and the first of the templates I produced. Of course, this wasn't a quick thing. There was an awful lot of redesign thinking, going back to literally to the drawing board and starting again for this. But when I got to a certain stage, I was relatively happy with everything. So the master template was also used to build various things like the body mould, which will be used to clamp the guitar, the body, when it's bent into shape, and to hold the shape while everything's attached to it. So I will cover that in more detail in another video and vary.